Welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast, a place where Milts can connect to one another to inspire, motivate, and collaborate to continue to build a strong and well-connected alumni association. I believe that Milton Hershey School rebranding is actually just getting started, and I want to be part of that journey. I think the best way to commemorate Milton and Catherine Hershey is to continue our own legacy that impacts the world as Milton Hershey so impacted us. I believe the level of extraordinary that each and every Milt carries within them is deeply underestimated, and this podcast will help in the journey to show off what Milts are really made of. I'm excited to get to know more Milts, more insight to their upbringing, and what they're doing now to build their legacy and bring value to others, and what being a Milt really means to them. Today, I'm speaking with Malcolm, aka Mazon Mays, class of 2007, founder of Novique, an apparel brand founded in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that he built on the pillars of originality, integrity, and perseverance. The name Novique derives from the combination of his son and daughter's first names, Dominique and Nova. Malcolm's story is one of redemption. The trials and tribulations that he faced weren't enough to deter him from his ambitions. Though the temptation to walk an easier path is great, his mission to build a legacy that he can pass to his children keeps his flame of passion lit like a torch in the night. Malcolm wants to pass down knowledge, business ownership, and wealth instead of debt, hardships, and lack of awareness. Wow and wow. Welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast. Welcome, Malcolm. Thank you so much for being my guest. That bio was phenomenal. I love your mindset just from reading that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That. I wrote that myself.
You wrote that yourself?
I wrote that myself. So.
Wow. You said you're a writer also, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. So what? I'm gonna go way back. When did you first get to Milton Hershey?
I got into Milton Hershey School in 1996. I was actually in Kinderhouse. That's going way back.
Wow.
House, yeah. And I was in the mixed student home too. That's actually going way back.
Wow.
Super. I was in the last.
Like gender mixed?
Yeah, boys and girls. It was 6 girls and 4 boys up until I went into 9th grade, I think.
Wow. All the way up until 9th grade. How crazy. I did not know that they had mixed gender up until that time. Wow.
Yeah.
So I got there in 96 also, and I was 10.
Yeah. That's
wow. So how old were you?
6.
Oh my gosh. So many people that I talked to that got there at that age, it's like such a tender age to get there. So tell me, where did you move from when you first got to Milton Hershey? Where were you born and raised for those 6 years?
So I was born in Indiana, Terre Haute, Indiana, but I moved to Harrisburg, PA when I was 1. And I was living in the city, just with my mom. That's my dad. I don't call him my stepdad because he really raised me. But,
wow.
He was, and it was just my mom figuring out and trying to go back to school and different things like that. So it was kind of hard on her. So I ended up being in Milton Hershey School when I was 6.
Wow. And did you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got a younger brother and a younger sister. My younger sister lives in Indiana.
Okay.
But my brother is 8 years younger than me. He never went to Milton Hershey or anything like that. But my little brother, man.
So you're the oldest.
I am the oldest out of both of them.
Yeah, so you were taught at a young age too, like what it means to be the oldest and be a role model.
For sure, 100%. I mean, when my little brother came, it was like an extra responsibility that didn't feel like a burden. It just was natural. Like, you want to look out for your siblings.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it does come very natural, like that protectiveness. Yeah, absolutely. So when you graduated Milton Hershey, did you decide to go to college?
So I didn't graduate from Milton Hershey, but I did attend post-secondary education. I went to Morgan University. I went to community college in Philadelphia. Basically trying to hone my passions because I had I had a unique skill set and a unique set of interests as well. So I was trying to pretty much mold my education around me as far as like just and what I wanted to pursue later on.
Good. Yeah, good for you. That's high intellect to know that at that age, you know, because a lot of times we're just like, all right, we'll go to college, but we don't know what really we really want, you know. We're just been told to go to college and study something, you know. What year did you leave Milton Hershey?
2004.
Okay.
2004. My mom had took me out. My grades weren't that great, and she's a teacher, so she really wasn't in the mood for that. So
Yeah.
he took me home just to make sure I was, a little bit more focused, because she's obviously gonna be the most stern on me as far as doing my work and making sure I'm doing, what she thought I was supposed to be doing. So
Right, right. You know what's funny? They say, you know, a lot of times when people aren't the best academically in school, it's usually because they actually have a higher level of creativity and things like that that causes them to not like that structure of school, like regular, you know, school that we were all used to. And it's true. I watch a lot of Gary Vee, and he wasn't the greatest at school either, and he says it. And I think that you see that across the board, especially with like creatives and entrepreneur minded people. School is just like, all right, I'm thinking out of the box. You know what I mean?
right, for sure. I mean, that was definitely me. I was definitely one of those people. It wasn't like school was hard for me or anything like that. I mean, my interest, I always knew what I was interested in. I
Yeah.
mean, there were times I would be up late, working on music and stuff like that. And, my house parent came in several times, and most of the time you would be, you might be in trouble for just still being up. But
Right.
luckily I had, they were able to recognize my passion and kind of let me go. They just basically say, hey, listen, as long as you're up in the morning, ready for school,
Yeah.
you're not doing anything that's harming you or harming anybody else. They knew that I was really chasing a passion and chasing a dream. So they kind of let me, dabble in that a little bit, because music was still, if it's not the traditional form, there's no like real education lane for you to follow.
Right, exactly. And that's just like music engineering or something like that. There's not like any curriculum to study to be a producer, you know. But I saw that on your website. You kind of encompass a lot of those things, like just the love of music, being a writer. You mentioned that you were a writer. So did you write your own music?
Oh yeah, I definitely write my own music. I mean, poetry, creative writing. I mean, straight A's. You know what I mean?
Oh,
as
that's
far
awesome.
my whole career, creative writing was super easy for me. I mean, so writing has always been a passion. So it was easy to write it, and it's easy to do things like write my bio and things like that.
Yeah.
That's just how my mind works. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've always loved writing too. Writing and reading good stuff like philosophy books has always been like my favorite. A lot, just literature in general. Literature just was always a fun subject for me.
Yeah.
But poetry, I would love to hear your poetry one day. Yeah.
It's funny that you brought up Gary Vee, because that's definitely one of my biggest. You could arguably say the biggest, but that's one of my biggest influences as far as like what I do now and how I communicate my message with my brands and the brands that I, So.
Yeah, he is. He's super high level. Like he's a smart guy. Like in so many ways, creativity, technology, branding, knowing how to stay ahead of different trends and different things, just being like an initiator, an innovator. He's really good. I didn't know him at first. My husband actually got me onto him. And at first I was like, whatever, he's just another guy, another YouTube guy. And then I really started listening like with intent. And I was like, God, this guy is so freaking smart. And the more he keeps doing, the more I'm like, he's like a walking genius when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah. And it's cool to see how many people I talk to who also listen to him, and that listening to him has like made them go and create. You know what I mean? It wasn't just, I listened to something, self-development. They took action. And that's what I like about him. He gives you a lot of information that allows you to go perform and do action behind it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And he's also a good voice because, just like we were talking about earlier, as far as like scholastics and academics, he speaks to the people that, people like me. And he lets you know that, listen, I was like that as well. And you're not the bottom of the barrel just because you didn't make straight edge or anything. You just learn differently.
Exactly.
And other people. So you just need those kind of voices too, to just kind of like, hey, listen, you might have, you know, got a D or maybe an F or a C, whatever you got, but you know, just remember who you are. And a lot of people who we are early on, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old, and it's hard to communicate that when you still have to go through a structure. You know what I mean? So,
right,
like
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like a particular curriculum that a lot of times, like when you look at school curriculums, not hardly any that I've seen are geared towards creative kids, creative people who, you know, want to learn something outside of math, science, you know, history, the regular subjects, you know what I mean? But then their grades might be average or below average there because it's just not interesting to them. You know, it's not that they're not smart, it's just not interesting. There's no motivation. But then you put in front of them a business class or a class on coding or website design or music, and then boom, you know, top of the class, they're passionate about it, they want to learn it. Yeah. Learning
100.
style, like you said, learning style is so important.
Yeah, it is learning style. I mean, that's the thing that's kind of difficult to perfect. Being as though, you know, it's a lot of kids and it's a lot of different ways as far as like some kids sit down and listen, as far as like taking notes, some watch videos, some learn with their hands and actually doing it. So it's hard to like really perfect that. So
yeah,
you know, as long as it might have to start at home, you know, with the parents just recognizing how their kids learn and what kind of kids they are. And, you know, just kind of guide them that way. Too,
exactly. You know? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Cause we're their first teachers who put them in the right situations to learn better. But in the end, we're the first teachers. Yeah. Yeah. So what brought you into entrepreneurship? Was it early on or was it recent?
It's always been a thing. I mean, it's always been a thing just because I have a motor. I just have a motor to, you know, to do things, and not to say I like being in control, but I like to build things. You know, I like to watch things grow, you know, brands, companies, just I'm into that. You know, I research how, you know, startups and how Amazon started, how Nike started, and like I love those little stories. You know what I mean? Just to, you know, because a lot of them did start small.
Yeah.
And they grew giant. So, you know, it's always been in me. It's always been in me. And it's just something that I more recently within the past few years just completely put my faith in it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I've had jobs, you know, I've done different things, went to school. But deep down inside, like I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur of some sort. And, you know, so
that's awesome. Yeah, some people know it. Yeah, some people know it at an early age. I'm born to be an entrepreneur, and some people don't realize it until later. And then it almost like happens accidentally. Like, oh, I have this idea. I'm gonna try to build a business, and then boom, they became a business owner. But like you and I think you always knew it. It was always just in you. And I think I've always been the same way too. Like, never really saw myself working for an entity or someone else forever. Like, I just wasn't okay with that part. And then from there, it was like, okay, deducting after that. If I don't work for somebody, then what am I going to do? Then the only other option is create something for myself, you know? And that's, I think, what got me into entrepreneurship. Yeah. Wow. So when did you start Novique?
I want to say 2019 is when I like got into the swing of it. Yeah. And 2020 is kind of when it started. 2020 is when it officially started. But.
Wow. So very recent. Yes.
Very recent. Very recent.
Wow. And already just in that time, I'm seeing all of your marketing and branding, people wearing your sneakers, Milt's supporting. First of all, I love your social media branding. I think you do a phenomenal job at that. And especially so early on. Yeah, I can only imagine where it's going to go. And as you continue to grow your marketing and your social, but what I see already is great. Yeah.
Definitely appreciate that. I mean, you know, like a lot of that comes from trying to market myself, and a lot of that comes from Gary Vee too.
Yeah.
He teaches us not to try to be perfect, and just pretty much document your process, be honest with people, you know, because you can't fool anybody. Yeah. You know, I'm not Nike, you know what I mean? So I can't fool anybody to you know what I mean, to get them into believing that I'm Nike. So
right. And you know what? In the end, it's not even about what people think. It's about what you're doing, what you're passionate about. Some businesses don't even have to go anywhere for someone to feel fulfilled by them or successful by them. You know, they could be a small little boutique for the rest of their life, and that's fulfilling and successful, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about your ambitions. I mean,
Yeah.
I like to keep it medium, small, medium. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I really want to. I don't need to compete with Nike, Reebok, or anything like that because I like being involved. And I know once you get to that level, it's hard to manage everything that you got. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm pretty sure the CEO at Nike doesn't know every ad that's being run. He doesn't know everything.
By now it's just like a snowball effect. You know? Yeah, he wouldn't have to do anything the rest of his life, and Nike will still be what it is. You know, yeah. But you know what? With that type of growth comes counterfeit, comes extreme competitors. The counterfeit alone is huge. I mean, once you're of that caliber and of that brand, your counterfeit is like flies landing on you. It's not even a big deal. But when you're talking like you're a medium player and someone is counterfeiting you, that is like them literally taking the bread right out of your hand and you're ready to eat it. Yeah. So you don't want that. Of course, you want the growth, but you don't want that part.
Yeah. I've already had to deal with, trust me, I've had to deal with a situation like that already.
Yeah. And that's good. You know, it shows that people want to be your shoe. You know, they see the growth, they see the demand in your shoe. So counterfeit could mean that you're doing a really good job at what you're doing, you know?
Oh yeah, you're doing a good thing. You're doing a good thing. If somebody's trying to copy, you're doing a good thing. So, you know, it's a good way of looking at it, which is that way. And then, you know, the bad way is they're literally copying your stuff.
Yeah. And
they wouldn't do it if it wasn't working. So.
Yeah. Counterfeit's a tough one. My brother and I had a business, a distributorship business. And he created like a sexual enhancement pill for men for endurance. And it was like #1 pill in the nation, over the counter, non-prescription. So for a few years, I mean, flying high, you know, best pill in the market, great. And never did we think we would be counterfeited. Like wasn't even a thought. And then suddenly our sales are going down. People are calling us like, I'm having heart palpitations and I'm about to go to the hospital. I just took your pill. And we're like, what? Like, where is this all coming from? And slowly we started seeing that a lot of our buyers, like retailers that used to buy from us, are not buying anymore. And we would send, you know, people in there, like our employees in there, see if they still have our product on the shelf. Are they not selling out? You know, that they're not reordering, what's going on? And they still had the product on the shelf. So our employee would buy it, bring it back, and we opened the pill up, totally different powder color. The whole package, you could tell, was a duplicate. And right away, we're like, oh my God, like, how is this happening? This is not our stuff, you know? And we saw over all the research and money spent towards figuring this all out. They were buying it. So China was counterfeiting it. And people were buying it from like Alibaba.com, AliExpress.com, and getting it shipped right to their door, to their retail place at a much lower cost, obviously, than ours. Ours is the real thing. And China was literally making it, manufacturing it there, and just slapping a duplicate package. Our 800 number, our website, everything identical. Everything. And the actual powder inside the pill, fake. Yeah, and it was causing heart palpitations. I mean, this could have really hurt us much more than it did. It hurt us financially. It hurt our brand. But I mean, we could have had legal repercussions from this, you know, but we were able to prove that this stuff is coming from China. We saw how we could literally go on Alibaba ourselves, purchase it, and get it shipped right to us. We even saw then during that time, even still now, you can literally go on Alibaba.com and get synthetic marijuana. You can get synthetic Tylenol. You can get synthetic Robitussin. You can get synthetic food shipped right to some. They had synthetic steroids. I mean, China's amazing. I think they're a phenomenal country and they're innovators and all of that. But they can be very lethal in that same way because I mean, people are buying fake medicine,
Yeah,
it's all
yeah, nah,
synthetic. Yeah.
that's
Unreal.
never good.
Monster. Yeah. Monster country. It's funny because after that happened, it completely ruined our brand, first of all, because people couldn't differentiate the counterfeit from that. And the counterfeit was selling so cheap that it was pushing us straight out of the market, So we jumped ship and we said, we're not selling Libby Grow anymore. So whatever you see that's out there is counterfeit and has nothing to do with us. We stopped all sales. And then we knew in order to keep the business running, we needed more products. So thank goodness at that time, vaporizers were just starting. So it was like a huge, big trend happening. So right away we were like, okay, we got to make a vaporizer, get it manufactured, brand it. And who else makes cheap vaporizer batteries besides China? So we had to go to China and source manufacturers for that, even though they literally just crushed the business we did create, business is cutthroat.
They do have just like you said, it's pros and cons. I mean,
Yeah.
It's pros and cons. I mean, you guys get back up.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah.
They also,
it's all about pivoting.
But them in their defense, it was the person who was actually initiating.
Yeah.
Whole coup.
Yeah.
The suppliers, they're going to make whatever.
Right.
Order they get, okay, boom, in and out.
Right.
So it's the person and the people who saw you guys' product and decided to literally copy it, not even imitate it.
Right. Just the copy. Yeah.
Similar,
like a fake Coach bag. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah. But at the same time, it definitely it opened my eyes to the business world, importing and exporting. And had it not been for China, we wouldn't have been able to continue the business because they created our very next flagship product, So, but it also taught me that you can't always have just one product, especially as like a distributorship. Having one product to rely on could mean your entire business. You know what I mean? So,
literally.
Yeah. That's funny.
I'm like, that is super detrimental. I mean, I'm glad y'all was able to come back from that because
thank God for that.
You guys out. That could have took you guys.
Yeah, exactly. And it almost did, for sure. It almost did. Just going down the rabbit hole of the counterfeit and trying to stop it. It was like throwing rocks at a mountain. So pointless. It was more cost effective to just stop the brand and jump to the next trend. And also it taught my brother a lot about not getting too emotional about your product or your business. Because at first that's what made him go down the rabbit hole. He was so emotional about this product he created, and every right. I mean, creating a pill like that is huge.
Yeah.
But it caused him to not want to let go. Like he fought that counterfeit with all that he had. But again, it taught us you can't get too emotionally attached to your business, because that could stop you from just boom, cut it, go on to the next thing, Yeah,
you gotta be attached to finding solutions. Cause I mean, it's always gonna be issues every day. I mean, even when you're doing great, you can have 1,000 orders, but do you have the staff to do 1,000 orders in a timely fashion? I mean, so you're always issues. You're always gonna have stuff like that. So you're really in the business of finding solutions.
Yes, absolutely.
Wake up. All right, how do I solve this, man? Because something's gonna happen. I mean,
problem solving is a key skill as an entrepreneur, to say the least.
Yeah.
So give me the overall like mission and vision for your business, for Novique.
For Novique, it's just to spread the message of never stop, never quit, man. Perseverance, just like you got from the bio, originality, be yourself. And those are the two main pillars, you know what I mean? I mean, we come from the Milt Hershey circle, which is built by a man who failed 99 times in getting the perfect chocolate recipe. To me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. People wouldn't even last 10 times. What you mean to tell me this man tried 99 times and he was bent on getting it.
Yeah.
So us even going there and learning that story, them embedding that story in us, should be our first example.
Yeah.
If we don't have any examples, not to say you might not have any examples at your home or within your family, it should be a shining example as far as the various school that we go to. If this man didn't keep, trying, we wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So we greatest example of perseverance. Like we come from that. We come from, the network that created came from that. So we should always remember that. Anybody who's a Milt, anybody who's attached to this, this Milt legacy at in any fashion, don't forget that ever.
Yeah, exactly. That is the reason. His perseverance is the reason we even had the opportunity that we had. Yeah, complete life for me.
100%. We're not going to talk about the lives he probably helped save. I mean, we all different kind of backgrounds. We all kind of backgrounds. So, like I said, there's no telling what kind of. There's no telling what.
Exactly.
I think now, like some of my friends that had went, that's from my city, and some that's not from my city, man. A lot of them may not be here. You know what I mean? A lot of them not be here if it wasn't for that dedication. And then Kitty whispering in his ear,
Exactly. Yep. It's so true. And then not getting on the Titanic. That was a whole nother universe. The universe works with you, like the universe knew what he was going to end up doing in life and was like, yeah, you can't get on the Titanic.
Crazy. That's crazy.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
I was talking about this last month, oh my God, because I was actually on YouTube. I was watching, some nerd stuff. I was listening to the transcript of like the messages that the Titanic was sending back and forth. It was real eerie, but I was thinking Milton Hershey and his wife, they could have been on here and then it wouldn't have been no school, nothing. You know what I mean? So
thousands and thousands of people affected. Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Beautiful story, yeah.
In ways and when they say that, he works in mysterious ways, no, he literally does.
Yeah. And when you have the opportunity to see it, it's even more amazing. Yeah.
100%.
What do you think is the vision of Novique? Where do you want it to go in 10 years?
In 10 years, I just want to be able to inspire other people to possibly do the same thing, help other people get to this point and then further, employ some people, allow them to help their families, and just continue to grow the brand into an affordable, fashionable brand that's always going to represent Novique, which is, like I said, like you said, it comes from Nova and Dominique. So I'm not too interested in making it huge, whereas I'll sell it one day because it's literally his names put together. So I hold it dear to my heart.
Yeah.
But, I'll probably use this to start other brands and, like I said, help other people do the same. I mean, because some people have the same kind of ambition and even more, but they just don't know what to do, where to start, but
Absolutely, yeah.
I'll help them though, because you mentioned China. I mean, I would have never thought this would even be possible, what I mean, without finding some reliable people overseas to help me. I mean, I ran into people who weren't trustworthy. You know what I mean? People I had to push to the side, but it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey, and I know it'll continue to be a long journey, but I would like to help people. So I'm going to start giving back in different ways like this too. You know what I mean? Just giving information out and helping people get to the same, helping people break through, really.
Their goal. Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of people don't have the belief in their own self. So when they see someone else doing it and living out their dream, that feeds their then belief. Like, wow, look, he's doing it. Maybe I can do it, And that it's so crucial to, and I love that what you're doing is that your brand is not just shoes or apparel. Your brand is anything under here is going to help inspire, motivate, encourage other people. So it's not even just Novique is this sector, clothing and whatever. It's actually a living, breathing, motivational thing you know, and that's, I was talking to Craig about that, the importance of branding. You know, so you're not just limited to one thing. You can brand yourself or any brand like Novique and say, this encompasses all kinds of things that we're building underneath this huge umbrella of a brand.
100%. You know, I'm using this to, I mean, it's not a known fact because I didn't put it out there yet, but I want to get this to help start a fund. Now, there was a lot going on, a lot of talk within the Black community after what happened to George Floyd, about, you know, what can we do with the community? So I had this idea about, what if everybody from the community said, okay, I'll give, you know, anywhere from $1 to however much you want to dedicate a month towards a fund that somehow, like, I didn't work out the details yet, but that somehow would be accessible to, you know, businesses, you know, daycares, different things like that. Whereas though, you know, education, like within the community, different things like that. Whereas though, you know, feeding the homeless, where people can tap into a fund that's actually built by the community, that's untouchable, and that's, you know, free from corruption and different things like that. But if you have, you know, 40,000 people in your city starting off at $1 a piece, I mean, well, you know, that's $40,000. And most people will say, okay, I give Netflix, you know, 7, 10, so I'll give you guys 10 a month. And it's really not giving it to us. It's just making it available for the community, because like a lot of people would like to rely on the government for different things. It's not always the government's not always going to save us.
Right.
So one of the ideas that I had as far as building this was to eventually launch this fund, which people can tap into. And, you know, like I said, the details have to be worked out, but
but the idea,
that people could do around the country and the world, actually, if they want to help their communities, I mean, why not? The people that's living here, if you want to put $1, $5, anywhere from what, $40,000 to $1 million each month that you guys can put back. You can build a playground. You can have, you know, some breakfast on Saturdays. You can give back to the homeless. You can get the books in the schools that the kids need. That, you know, my mom was a teacher, so I know she was buying stuff out of her own pocket. So it's things like that, whereas though these funds can be used, and it's, you know, it's not give $100 donation. No, $1 a month. That's $12 a year. I mean, that's really 4 quarters a month. Whereas though, you know, people would feel like they are giving back to a good purpose. But like I said, it does have to be worked out, because I don't want there to be any kind of corruption or any kind of, any kind of injustice, because it's really for the community. So with this idea, with the Novique idea, I wanted to usher that in. Because $5 of each of these are going to the Harrisburg Boys Club, the Boys and Girls Club, Harrisburg Boys and Girls Club, and Capital Rebirth, which are organizations here in Harrisburg that do different things around the community with the kids. But I didn't want the contribution to be limited, because I know other people need help as well. You know, I love the kids, but, you know, Miss Sally Beauty Supply over here, or, you know, Miss Keisha's Fish Fry, she might need, you know what I mean? So, you never know. So I was like, hey, let's kickstart a program, you know, where it will be grants, not loans to people, grants to people, where they can, you know, we can thrive as a community. So that's the end goal. That's the end goal. That's the end.
Yeah. That's such
and I don't even care if people steal that idea. I don't even care about that.
Exactly. Yeah. And most people won't, because most people, you know, if you see an idea and it wasn't yours originally, then that passion is probably not as genuine, not as strong. Yeah. It's like you building a scholarship fund, except this is a fund for not scholarship or schooling, but maybe for business startups or whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be just schooling. Yeah. It could be anything you want it to be, but the same grounds of creating a scholarship fund. Yeah. Same
grounds of creating it, you know, is, you know, positivity, you're trying to push the community forward, or you know, like you said, scholarships, like different things. Like I said, the details have to be worked out, but there's plenty things that could fall under this umbrella, and I don't want to alienate, or I don't want to I don't want to leave people out who may not necessarily be going for a scholarship, but they might be some business, or they might be, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like here over here, or like it might be a teacher that says, yo, history and my kids have books from 1973. Like clearly we need more books. So that's something, you know what I mean, that they get tapped into, so.
Absolutely. And that's such a good vision to start with and to strive with, is automatic giving. Like it's not even just about growth, but I want to grow so that I can give, and that I think is a very strong characteristic of just what your character is as a person, and then also what type of entrepreneur you are. It's not just about grow, my brand and money and this and that. It's about growing, and then how can I pass this off? Because all that speaks to your legacy. Can you imagine creating this fund, and then now you've helped 20,000 people, 20 years from now, and everyone will look back on you just like they look back at Milton and Catherine Hershey. Was like, wow, without him, we wouldn't have had this opportunity. Yeah.
I never thought of it like that, as far as, that, as far as that deep, but
yeah,
it would be the same, that would be the same aesthetic there, but I don't want to, he built the town. He built the whole city.
He's like, no comparison there.
Yeah. He's on a different level, but I see what you're saying, though. But I mean, that would be nice. That would be nice, man. Like if I get somebody's family out here, somebody's kid gets to go to college, debt free because of the fund. You know what I mean? Somebody's laundromat gets to open up debt free.
Yeah, and if you aren't thinking big, you're thinking small. So think as big as you possibly can.
Yeah. I think it could be a national thing. I'm already a part of, it's called Buy Back Black in Philadelphia. So they had a fund basically where people were putting up money, and they gave away, I think they gave away about $30,000, $40,000 so far. So they gave away $10,000 a month to small business in the Philadelphia area. So I was like, okay, how can I, you know what I mean, not take the model, but adapt that same kind of concept, but just make it available to more people into more fields.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to limit it to just small business, because not everybody is an entrepreneur. Not everybody is a business person. Like I said, some people are teachers that see a lack in their school, so, it's different things that it can be used for. That details have to be ironed out, but at the end of the day, man, to give back in that way would be great.
Absolutely.
There's no sense in growing that big without, one, teaching people how to get there, but then everybody else by creating this fund, because not everybody wants to do this. There's people who do want to do this, and I can help them by just sharing this information with them. But as far as everybody else, we can put our tires on the road, you know what I mean? Make the engine run, and, put something big together.
Yes. And, Craig had mentioned that, he wouldn't have been able to do all that he's done so far without the team. And that's where, he talked a lot about you, because you were a huge part of his team and support system and association. And I love that, because your association, number one, is so key. The type of friends you have around you, the family that you keep around you, how much of their mindset that you let into yours, and to see Milt's, graduating and still having such a close connection, and a positive one at that, where they're helping each other build businesses. That is like everything I ever dreamed for Milt's. Like I've always wanted to see that type of good, positive progress and relationship and connection between Milt's, because we're all capable of such greatness. And then you start to put all that together with people and building, it's nonstop. Like it just in the people that he mentioned, I think it was like 4 or 5 guys that helped him get to where he was. You all were building stuff simultaneously and helping each other. So what is that? 3, 4 businesses created at once just by you guys all being friends and associating.
Yeah.
Like that is
literally.
Yeah. So cool.
I tell people all the time, I mean, Milt Hershey is the most unique network in the country.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, I was like, me, Craig is from Virginia, Allentown. I mean, I would have never met these guys if it wasn't for Milt Hershey School. Maybe one of the guys that he mentioned, I'm pretty sure it was Alex Gilchrist. He's from Harrisburg. He's from Harrisburg, but you know, Craig's from, Allentown, and he probably mentioned Dev too. He's from Philly. So, Milt Hershey, man, it's just a unique network, and if we don't take advantage of that, we kind of, not to say we sell ourselves short. No, we do.
Yeah. Yes.
I agree. By not tapping into that network. I mean,
I absolutely agree.
It
could be an incredible resource to us. Yeah. So take me through like the process of, okay, I'm going to create a shoe, design it, and then source the manufacturers to create it, and then build a website around it, and then the marketing. So how did you come to do all of those things?
I came to do that by just pretty much failing at other things. So I had like it's funny story. So I had like a vegetable peeler that I was.
That's awesome.
I created a whole company. It was called Peel Doctor. Booked this and the third, ran a couple of ads and sold out in a day. I just didn't feel like I just wasn't, not to say I wasn't proud. I just, hey, vegetable peelers, hey, how you like? It wasn't something that I could really morally get behind. So I mean, I tried to like test my marketing skills, and I sold out immediately. So I was really looking for a product that I could naturally market every day, and I could be proud of. We're good. That I could be proud of, and that something that I could tie into my music, something that I can, like I said, seamlessly market, cross in somehow. So I looked into it, and I had to go overseas for manufacturing. I mean,
it's the easiest, most cost-effective way these days. Yeah, absolutely.
More cost-effective. I mean, I was looking at crazy manufacturing prices here.
Yeah.
Before I thought it was an idea, you know what I mean? Before I even thought it was, maybe I might can do this. I'm looking, doing the research, like, but I'm looking at all my shoes. I got Nike, Adidas, Converse, this, that, and the third, and I'm looking at made in, and I'm like, none of these say United States. So I'm like, all right, let me try to find, this, that, and the third. So I ended up going through two suppliers to get to the one that I love. Like, you know what I mean? Not to say they weren't, they were kind of sketchy, but I just I just didn't feel inside that they were the right match for me. So I ended up where I'm at now. I got a supplier from China, but it's a good company. Like it's a company like me, like a small company, nice small company. Who, when I hit them with this order, they were so excited. You know what I mean? Because they didn't necessarily get that much business as far as like on the regular. So they were real glad to accommodate all the changes and things that I was hitting them with. And I told them, like, listen, I'm trying to build, a nice working relationship, man. As long as we, the product's good, our relationship's good, and our communication is back and forth, like quick.
Yeah.
So that's what I appreciated about them. And then it went to, now mind you, that was during COVID. So I initiated this during COVID. I had put out a video to pre-launch it it was in September. All I was doing was just announcing the product, saying, hey, this is what I got going on. And then it blew up. Like, you know what I mean? My Shopify is going off. It's bling, bling. I'm like, all right, what's going on? So I took the pre-orders, and then, all right, boom, now we're in production.
Yeah.
They're working at like 30% capacity because of COVID.
Yeah.
So the process ended up taking probably about 4 months longer.
Yeah.
In that, and in between not having the funds for shipping initially.
Yeah.
That was a whole different beast that I didn't even think that was, you know what I mean? So it was a lot of ups and downs to get to this point as far as me literally sitting in front of these bad boys right here.
Yeah.
It was a super long process, but I mean, what are we gonna do? Quit?
Right.
That's
Exactly.
not in me. So
Yeah.
I found a way to get them here. You know, they got the boxes, me and another Milt, Zarf Jordan. Well, Craig was actually too helped me fold boxes. I'm not going to discount that. He was definitely here. We fold all these boxes by hand, and we made it happen. I mean,
so awesome.
I designed these myself. Like it's a lot of skills that come into one. I mean, a lot of Photoshop skills that I learned, a lot of video skills that I learned. Man, shout out to Miss Gert. Love you.
Yes. You're like the third, fourth person to shout her out. I love Miss.
I mean, he's a legend.
Yes.
Pete Gert's a legend too, but Miss Gert, I had more of a personal relationship with her as far as doing video. You know,
that's awesome.
She is who she is, but all these skills combined into one as far as Photoshop with designing, and then designing the sticker, designing the packaging.
Wow, you did most of your designing all yourself. Wow.
Absolutely.
And you taught yourself all of that. That's so awesome. And that's another quality I see in a lot of entrepreneurs. Like, I don't know how to do something, boom, I need it, so I'm gonna go learn it myself, you know? And so like learning how to do your own website, learning how to code when you never thought you would ever code before. But when you see a vision of something and you want it, you're like, I'm going to learn whatever I need to learn to get what I need done. Yeah. And then the rest you outsource, you know? If it's something that, especially if you have the funds or ability to be able to outsource and, you know, maybe employ someone who could be better at something, absolutely. You know, that's a great way as you continue to grow. So then you could focus more on building more and, you know, more ideas and creative things.
Yeah, no, that's ideal. I suggest most people, if you can do that, do that. I mean, if you have people around you or if you have a team, utilize your team. Yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person where as though I didn't have a team and I just, you know, like I said, at the beginning, my motor is just, you know, and I was just so determined to make something happen, you know, know all that I know from marketing, designing, branding, product, everything. Just having this unique set of skills, I knew that I was going to be able to make this happen. You know what I mean? And if I couldn't, if it's something that I can't do, like I'm not getting ready to build in here. I'm not getting ready. I'm gonna call my friend to come build, and you know what I mean, do different stuff. But if it's ads, marketing, website stuff that I've already taught myself from, you know, from managing my website with the music, and you know, helping different companies do that. So, you know, that's what helps me being able to do that with Craig, with Water Health and stuff like that, because I'm utilizing the same skills and tactics that translate. It's just, you know, it's just in a different field.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's right. And that's such a great way to help each other, you know, especially when you have that good association. Like, I'm good at this, I'll help you with this. You're good at this, you can help with this. And that's that team you start to create, which is so awesome that you guys had that, you know. And most entrepreneurs do it all themselves in the beginning. Like all of it, every bit you do yourself. And then of course you grow and you expand, but most entrepreneurs, it's a jack of all trades kind of mentality.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's my mentality. I fall into that category of entrepreneurs. I mean, it's hard for us to not do something. You know what I mean? If you really feel it in your spirit, it's hard for you to not do it. Like, I'm on YouTube trying to learn. If I can't do it, all right, cool. Like, I'm not going to step in the kitchen when Craig's in the kitchen. I mean, that's us.
Right.
He's 10 times better than mine. Let him do what he does. I'll record you. I'll do the videos. I'll do the website. I'll do that, bro. Yeah. But I'm not gonna even overstep my boundaries in any way. So
right.
I think that's good too. I mean, you have to have a balance of I'm going to learn it and a balance of I'm going to give somebody that knows it, you know what I mean, or can teach it or something. Like, sometimes entrepreneurs, we need to humble ourselves because we do think we know everything, but it's impossible to grow to a super high level without partners and help, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You always have to be in a state of learning and a willingness to learn
100%.
so that you can grow. So what do you think during this time? And I'm sure you had lots of challenges, like you said. What do you think has been your biggest challenge so far?
To get to this point, um, the in between time, I think the biggest challenge was just trusting my supply. Sending all that money and just trusting my supply, and that little gap in between me doing that versus completion, and then the shipping issue. The biggest issue was dealing with people who, prepaid for the shoes, who are now me, where's my product? And me being a genuine guy, knowing that there's nothing shady going on, I'm telling the truth, but they're customers, they're consumers, so that doesn't necessarily concern them. They just want to know where's my product. So I think that was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Well, the hardest part was adjusting. So I'm real good at that now, but when you start something, it's probably not going to go exactly as planned. It's probably not going to go exactly as planned. It might mean we got here, but if you'd have told me, that you're going to go through this, to go through this, to go through this, I thought we just going to go, all right, we out here now. Right. But it's pretty much not going to go as you plan. You're going to have to adjust. So, yeah.
It's like construction. A lot of times, you want to build a house and you're like, okay, well, this is how we're going to do it. These are the steps and this is when we should be done. And then next thing you know, this is the problem. We actually got to do this before we do it. And then it's like 6 months beyond the date that you thought. Yeah. Entrepreneurs, you gotta you got to expect it.
TV. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, there's no bathroom. Like what? By the way, this pipe's busted, so it's going to be extra 1,000. Yeah, so I know.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so funny. It will never go exactly as planned, but that's what makes you so strong as an entrepreneur, because you really learn to bounce back from everything. And like you said, problem solve along the way, constant problem solving.
100% every day. Yeah. Problem solving and figuring out ways to expand and grow. So
yeah.
It's a constant.
With that said, what type of self-development do you do and how often?
Every day. Reading is a big thing. One of my big things is I don't know anything. You know what I mean? So I'm going to read, I'm going to watch videos, listen to interviews. I'm going to learn from everybody.
Yeah.
Another big self-development thing is me. I go to the gym every day. So I exercise all the time.
Yeah.
Mentally, but it also reminds me of building a business. I mean, you can lift weights for 3 hours one day and you feel, so sore the next day, but it's going to take a while for your muscles to grow. So I always compare it to that, and I think that's why I love going, because it's just a steady grind, it's a real honest grind. Like you get what you put in, you get out what you put in. I mean, you can't go in there and you can go on Facebook and say, hey, I'm in the gym, but your body is going to react to, what you put it under, as far as what kind of put it under. So
yeah, and the consistency. Yeah, it's not going to happen overnight or in 2 weeks. It's going to take a lot of.
It's going to take about a year. It's going to take about a year, which is as long as it took me to get this up and running. So
I
like person too, and I don't meditate in the traditional form as far as sit down with music and cameras and things like that. But one of my biggest things is just going by the river, the Susquehanna River down here, and just sitting down and just that's like one of my forms of meditation. Like
that's so awesome.
Zen or anything like that. I just kind of sit there and like gather my thoughts, and you know what I mean. Just I don't know. Me stepping into nature just always humbles myself. It always humbles me. Like, I think I'm doing big things, but you're just another soul out here.
Yeah, we're just like a speck of dust in this huge universe. Yeah. Yeah, nature teaches us things. I love nature too. I always have my daughter out in nature. One, it's like serenity to me. I love it. It's calming, it's beautiful. But also when you watch it, nature can be lethal, but it's also like it needs every step relies on the other. Like bees pollinating the flowers is what helps our entire ecosystem work. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Yeah. When you see the whole power of it, it, like you said, it humbles you. Yeah. That's awesome. And it's true. Meditation it's most people, they think meditation is like, hum, whatever, but it could just be those quiet moments where you just are with no distractions. Yeah. That's good that you do that for yourself. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you need those. I have to purposely do them because, they don't, if you let people, they'll pull you every which way all the time. You got to delegate time for yourself. Even you're a mother, I'm a father. You still need time for yourself, even if it's a couple minutes a day. You need to be able to just think, get your thoughts together.
Yeah,
because it's chaotic. The world is chaotic. Your mind's probably chaotic, spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. So
yes, absolutely. Do you think you're going to add more either shoes, or do you think you'll add other inventory to Novique?
Yeah, so we're working on I got some samples coming in for some slides and some the Origin 2, which is similar to what's going on here, but it's a different other way. It's pretty fire. So yeah, for sure. If we add more apparel, and more shoes. Like, I want to do it more so like limited drops. So I don't want to bring stuff back, different things like that. Limited exclusive drops. Yeah. So we're working on accommodating smaller and bigger sizes now.
Okay.
So we're running into, good problems, like, the good problems. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It's always good to have like that challenges that make you grow. It's always a good problem, like lack of inventory, but high demand is awesome problem to have. It hurts because keeping inventory is hard. That's what I've learned in distributorship is in any business with inventory is that much harder. Oh God. Cause you have to store that inventory somewhere. You got to pay for the inventory to get there. Then you got, returns, and you got to put that. It is very difficult to maintain consistent inventory for sure. Lots of costs that go with that.
Cost and timing. Because you have to know your manufacturer. You got to know their speed.
Yeah.
Okay. Going to take, you know what I mean? You got to go through almost 2 runs to.
Yeah.
They can tell you one thing, and then you get the first run, okay, and you get the second run. You're like, okay, this is the average. Whether it's, you know what I mean? Like, I know these are going to take 4 months. You know what I mean? 4 months. So I know from once I put an order in, it's going to be 4 months. That's a whole season. So I have to.
Wow, lots of planning ahead. Yeah.
I mean, they're making the shoe from scratch. I mean, they're making it from scratch. Each and every part.
That is so cool.
And that was part of the process with my pre-orders. They didn't understand that these people this is going down the line.
Right. Yeah.
This person does this part, this person does this part, this person does this part. So you have to patience, but as long as you learn and adapt, man, it'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then anticipate what can potentially take up more time. You learn that along the way too, is that anticipating the problems that will come, based on the history of things. Yeah. That's so cool. It's cool to be able to hold up your own product that you made, you designed.
Yeah, it's surreal at times as far as like what I had to go through to get here. But like I said, man, I'm gonna always reference Milt Hershey's story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Imagine what he felt like the 100th time, the 99th time, as far as getting the chocolate, probably tasted it on the 60th time, spit it out, like, man, this ain't it.
And then on top of that, he had like his family, because they owned the candy shop or the caramel shop, and he wanted to change it. He's like, well, I see this, but then I want to do. So he had the family that was like, what are you doing? You're failing. So it was like double, not just like doing it on your own and having your normal, whatever critics or your own critic not believing in yourself, but his family was like shitting on him basically. What are you doing, you fool? And he still had to be like, nope, I'm not gonna listen to you. I know that obviously took our family business down the drain, but it's gonna go back up, you know?
That's funny. Yeah. He was doing the crumbles because they do have I saw the what do they call them? They call them Lancaster. They're called like Lancaster.
The caramels, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They try to take dedicated to his start. That was pretty, you know us. We know the whole story and all that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, other people, they just think, oh, he's the chocolate maker, but they have no idea the history.
Nah, you know what I mean? And they look at us a certain way too, like, oh, you guys, this, that, and the third. You know, we came here for a reason. Like, we weren't, you know, this is not your traditional school. This is the only school in America like this. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You'll literally not pay anything to bring you here. They'll pay gas money and that's it.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I was just talking about that with another alumni, Kristen, and we were saying, like, sometimes there's a stigma around, oh, you know, you put your kids in Milton Hershey, you're needy, oh, it's a bad thing, blah, blah. I'm like, honestly, if Milton Hershey wanted to, they could charge thousands of dollars to make people pay to come into the school because they are a very prestigious school. They choose to be a philanthropy school. They choose to allow kids in without paying a freaking dime. And they could, if they wanted to switch gears all of a sudden and be like, we're going to charge thousands of dollars like all these other private schools do, they absolutely could. And then the stigma would be different, you know?
Even from when you went, from when I went, it is crazy. Like, I went on a bike ride with my friend Zahraa, who used to go there too. And we rode through the campus. We did like 25 miles.
Wow.
Around because we didn't realize how good at it. Like, we didn't realize it. We just was like, oh man, you know, we're away from our friends, we're away from our family. Looking around, I'm like, man, now these kids they got the pool over there. They got, you know, little. I'm like, oh man, these, and then let's not mention the generation of student homes that they keep building. The ones now,
I know.
I'm like, yo, what's going on over here, man?
I know. It looks like a college
with the trust that he built, with the rules that he put in place, is one of the most. I mean, it got to be one of the best agreements that's ever been written up. I mean, the school's thriving because of that. But I want to do something. I want to do something similar to that. As far as like, that's like a lifetime trust. I mean, the school can't do anything with that, or the Hershey company can't do anything with that. So it's like, that's a beautiful thing that they did.
Such a smart thing that he did, or whoever, you know, was working with him and guided him to doing that. I'm sure he had a huge legal team who guided him into what he needs to do to keep exactly how he wants it to be, which is so crucial, because that, you don't play around with your legacy. Like, if you want your legacy to be a specific way, a trust is the way to do that. I'm in financial planning, so I tell people all the time the importance of creating a trust. If you don't want the state and the government to be all in your everything you pass down to your kids, you put it all in a trust name, and they can't, there's no probate, there's no, you know, lack in time and where you have to wait to receive these things. All of it is in the trust, and it's immediate. Yeah. So important.
100%.
Yeah. So how do you think you've grown as an individual during this time of business ownership?
During this time of business ownership, I grew as far as learning to help other people. I mean, learning to let other people help me. I mean, realizing that I can't do everything myself. I might be a beast, but I'm not that much of a beast. Yeah. And in order to grow anything, like, you need help. And sometimes you need to learn how to, you know, blend your skills with other people's to really reach that ultimate goal, whatever it may be. But for me personally, that was probably the biggest source of my growth, was just learning how to use other people and you know, just being a human again. I mean, because honestly, I talk to my family about this a lot. As far as
I think Milt Hershey had an effect on me, you know, just getting used to like doing stuff by myself.
Yeah.
You know, and it may or may not have affected my my relationships with people as far as like business and different things like that. But I definitely think it had like a big part in that. You know what I mean? Like I just kind of, you know what I mean? Because I was in my room trying to figure stuff out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was borrowing people's laptops. Shout out to Eric Hammond. He used to let me borrow his laptop and just figure out the music stuff. And
Yeah.
then I learned to do it all on my own. And then I had to unlearn that and learn to, you know, allow people to help me. So I think that's the most important thing. Just, you know what I mean, getting back to the human aspect of business, really, for me.
Yeah. And, you know, as you grow, you're just going to start bursting at the seams. You know, it's going to get easier and easier to be like, all right, delegate this, delegate that, delegate this, because I just can't do it all because I'm busy growing it bigger and bigger and bigger, you know? So it'll get easier to let go of that control or that sense of, you know, independence of getting it all done yourself, you know? The growth itself, like the pace that you start to grow won't even let you hold on to that mentality as hard as you will try. Cause you'll just be so busy, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
You're going to have to be like, all right, I need to hire this guy, this guy, this guy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure y'all probably went through that.
Yeah.
You know what y'all was dealing with. I mean, because you know, you describing a product, I imagine that did a lot of numbers. So
Yes. Yeah.
I know you guys were busy, super
Busy. And you know, it's so funny because when I first moved with my brother, you okay, baby? Yeah. When I first moved with my brother, and I watched him do it all. He had a tobacco shop that he was running 24/7 in Almani, California. He lived in the shop in the back. And while he was running the shop and hardly sleeping, um, he would like hire a guy who helped run it for a few hours while he would go to the back. And he would get the pill from the manufacturer and he would place it in the package and he would hot glue gun it together and put it in the box and do the box. He would do all that himself.
Everything.
And I would watch it and be like, wow. And then, you know, when I got out there, we started doing trade shows. We started doing all these things, getting busier and busier and busier. And I'm like, ow, you can't, there's no way we're going to sit here and be able to glue all these things together. I know you want it. He wanted the glue to be a perfect Z. He's like, it's gotta be. And I'm like, we are too busy now. Thank God we have too much demand. We have to do it faster. So we started finally hiring people to come glue this, package it this way, 25 in a box. And then we go take it to a trade show, you know, but it was that like growth, that quick growth that he was like, shit, yeah, I do need to hire some people and we need to get this out faster, you know? But yeah, in the beginning, he did not want to, but the growth.
I understand that it's his baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, just like he wants, you know, the you know, to be in a perfect. Listen, that's everything.
Yeah, yeah.
I sit here, I sign all of the cards, all of the thank you cards. Really, like you see,
that's so awesome.
Number 490. So like up here, you know what I mean? It's only 700 pairs that was made. So like,
yeah, wow.
I'm selling all these, but I know like once we grow, there's no possible way that
it's gonna start becoming a stamp. Like, okay, stamp this, get it out. Yeah, yeah, it is, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure. But I know from I forget exactly who it was. It was Jim somebody, but the book I read.
By Jim Rohn.
But it's no. It's the Good to Great Principles. I don't know.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know that book. Yeah,
really great, and it's basically, you know, one of the parts in there was talking about, you know, you can't be working in your business and work on your business at the same time because I mean, like, you have to have people that's going to deal with present problems, which is, you know, customers hitting you up, yada yada, this and the third.
Yeah.
You have to have people dealing with past problems, which might still be customers or past issues like returns, you know, invoices, stuff like that. In order for you to be able to focus on the future aspect of your business, which is building it, you know, new ideas, new shoe ideas, new you know what I mean, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, and another thing that can fall into the, the present is, the marketing is actually doing the ads and stuff like that. So
Yes.
it just gets to the point where as though, you know what I mean? Like, because me right now, I would have to either teach somebody as much as I know or hire somebody who knows more than me.
Yeah.
Because I've taken several master courses on marketing and the technical marketing, not just hypothetical marketing, like branding and yada yada. No, I mean like literally, this is how you do Google ads and this is how you do Facebook ads. This is the difference between this and this. So it's like I've gotten a college education almost on just that. Yeah. So that's what makes it hard for me to start to delegate things, because it's like, you know what I mean? You want something to be the same quality. So that was probably the hardest thing for your brother.
Yeah.
Was to trust other people to deliver the product the same way he delivered the product. Yes. You know what I mean? Like there's a way that I put the shoes in there and wrap the paper in it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like, that's that. I feel your brother. I feel your brother on that. I feel your brother on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so, even you explaining it is like brings flashbacks, because I watched it too. And it's such a common trait, because you created this, you know what I mean? It's hard to believe or trust that someone is going to treat it with the same passion and the same promise that you want to treat it with, So I know you're a family guy too. I know you have 2 kids. Your business name was created from their names combined. How has business ownership affected your family life?
It's made me just go that much harder. I'm strict about my family time, as far as my kids. When it's time to get my kids, it's a hard shutdown for me. And I adopted that from Gary Vee too. As far as him being a workhorse, but he says when I'm with my family, I'm with my family. So when it's time to get my daughter, like on certain days, if I'm booked up until 4:00. But once 4 hits, you know what I mean? I'm done. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm real strict on that. You know what I mean? If my son's up here for the weekend, I'm not doing anything business related, or you know what I mean? You guys can't catch me. I'm with my family. So I've learned to utilize my free time a lot better in order to make my family time more just more effective.
Yeah.
I want to be a dad. Like, just because my daughter's in the same room as me and I'm texting and I'm on the computer, that's not like
the quality time.
Really engaging her like that. She's been at school all day. You know what I mean? So if she comes home to me and I'm just working, you know what I mean, this, that, and third, I don't do nothing but just put her to sleep. Like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. So it forces me to really utilize my time a lot more wisely, because I'm never gonna alienate my kids, and it makes no sense when this is Novique, which is literally named after them. So that's always a constant reminder too. You know what I mean? Everything I look at, these boxes, my shirt, shoes, I see it all the time. So I got a constant reminder of my kids,
Yeah, that's so awesome. And it's so good that you're aware and intentional about, this is the time I spend with them, so I'm going to make it quality time. They get 100% all of me without all the constant distractions. Yeah. That makes, even if it's an hour, it makes it that much more effective, because there's no distractions, and you are 100% present with them.
100%.
That's so 100%.
Awesome. Like my daughter all the time, I'll put my phone down and like it's funny, I was about to get emotional, but I'm not. I'll put my phone down and like I just do the little stuff where, like, even coloring with her, she be so hyped. She's like, oh, you about to come over here? All right, bet. Yeah, she give me something. We sitting there, she's like, oh, you see what I did? All right, cool. You know what I mean? She just, she just want me to be in tune, like, and when my son was up here last, like, we a big thing with him, like, he's a video game dude. Like, he's just like me. I used to love video games.
Yeah.
And we was here at the office. I set the TV up for him, you know what I mean? The big screen right there, you know what I mean? He was cool. He was cooling, but I'm working. But after I was done, like, I said, man, I'm gonna play a game with you. Like, he was so hyped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I'm just like, yo, you know what? I'm spending the time with you, and I just seen how it affected my kids, as far as me just putting the phone down. I'm not even answering my phone. You know what I mean? Just like you said, just an hour. That focused hour, like, you mean, how much time you want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It means a lot to your kids, and you know, it's going to do a lot for you in the future as a parent. You know what I mean? Like, your kid can go to school the next day. Yo, man, I played my dad in 2K yesterday, this, that, and third. I trashed him or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, my daughter tells more than anything, so she'll, you know, she might go to school and say she colored with her dad, or her dad did this little activity with her. You know what I mean? So I like to do that.
That's so awesome. Yeah, that's so good. You could definitely see, you know, your passion for your kids and everything that you're doing for them. Just like you said, you were about to get emotional. That is so powerful. You know, that just a thought of doing that with your daughter brought emotions to you. That's awesome. Bless them and bless you for being such a good dad, such a present dad.
For sure.
That is so good. So second to last question, what does being a Milt mean to you?
Being a Milt means
It's a loaded question, I know.
no. It is loaded. I'm trying to think of the best limit. Being a Milt means take advantage of your circumstances, taking advantage of your circumstances, and utilizing your network at the end of the day, and also appreciating your blessings. But I think taking advantage of your network is the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest gift that they gave us, as far as Milt Hershey and Kitty, is to put us in this school, put us in this area with these people that we probably wouldn't have never met ever in our life.
Yeah.
Because they're from different states, different, you know what I mean? Even as far as Alaska, I know when I was 07, we had a girl from Alaska. So
us too.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You think about it. So yeah, I mean, just utilizing your network and you know, just carry on the legacy. I mean, one of the models for Novique is build legacy, defy the odds. You know what I mean? Build legacies and defy odds. And that's like a Milt Hershey model, even if it's not in stone, because it's not. But Milt Hershey built a legacy and he defied all odds. You know what I'm saying? Like, he built a town. Like, I don't know if Milt or anybody really understands the magnitude of what he really did. Like, it went from, all right, we're gonna build a school for a couple of these kids, you know, that's orphans that need help, to I don't even know if they envisioned what it was going to be now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't even know. I think Kitty was just trying to help out. She was trying to help out. You know what I mean? I don't think she knew her impact was going to be this great.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah. I think that might be one of the best answers I actually got to that question. And I've got phenomenal answers, which are all great and correct, you know, family, friendships, connection, culture, diversity. I've gotten so many answers, but I think you and I relate 100%, because that would also be my answer. Is being a Milt definitely means to take full advantage of the network we were provided. And I think that was a big goal for this podcast. Is I kind of looked at the MHS Alumni Association and I'm like, wow, you know, the strong part of the association is mostly like people like 60s and above. And then, you know, as we get lower in age, it's almost like there's less and less and less connection, or an association that's building a lot like a sorority. I looked at it like a sorority or a fraternity. Like, how are these college fraternities and sororities so well at networking and helping each other to build, yet we have like the biggest sorority fraternity you could even imagine, and the most well-connected, and you don't have to do anything to get in except be a student for one day at Milt Hershey and you are in forever. There is no hazing or any of that crap. You are in a powerful association. So if we're not utilizing that to grow ourselves and each other, that is like the biggest waste of what we were given. Yeah, Yeah. So I relate with you so much on that. I'm very passionate about getting the Alumni Association to be so strong and so big that, like, anywhere you are in the world, if you're a Milt, another Milt can get you associated with a company, a person, a thing, a something, and to get you to a better place. Yeah. And that's so good. It's great that you can see that at such a young age too. The younger, I think, Milts or younger graduates that I've spoken to are even more connected. And I think that that's happening because the school is also progressing and it's gotten better at the overall happiness of each student. And I think that helps. So after we graduate, it's not like, I can't wait to get the heck out of here. It's more like, oh, we're graduating, but we are still love going back, love still talking to other Milts. Like, there's no disconnect,
100%.
Yeah. So last question. What's your overall vision for your legacy and your future generations? I saw in your bio that it was crucial for you to pass down wealth and knowledge, as opposed to debt and hardships, and a negative mindset. And I love that. I think that's high level thinking, and more people should be thinking that way. But expand on that. Tell me more about your overall vision and your legacy.
Yeah, my overall vision is to educate, um, my children and the next generation on, my hardships, the pains that I went through, my experiences, just how people like Gary Vee and different brands and companies and, you know, different people that I've gotten information from have passed it down to people like me, people like you. I just want to do the same thing. I want to be remembered for building something, but then also bringing people with me. You know what I mean? Because not everybody is going to be ready to do this. Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody's meant to, be a worker. Not everybody's meant to be anything.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel, deep down, that's what you are. Like Gary Vee says all the time, like people think they're number ones, but you could be an excellent number 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Just by utilizing what you have.
Right.
It might be a God-given talent, or it might be something that you earn as far as through education.
Yeah.
And through experience.
Yeah.
I just want to inspire people to never give up as well.
Yeah.
Just pass that down, just like Mel Hershey and Kitty passed that down to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't ever give up, and also trust your intuition too, because intuition is like a spiritual thing with me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there was I'm sure Kitty was tight that she couldn't go on Titan. She was probably sick. Like, she was sick, no pun intended, for real. But she's probably like, like, you know what I mean? Like, even if she would have had a little sniffle, she still might have been like, all right, we out.
Yeah.
She had to be that in tune to say, you know what? No. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So definitely trust your intuition as well.
That's big.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome legacy to leave behind. It's a giver legacy. A lot of times when, some people will talk about legacy, it's all about, what I'm building for myself, or it's attached to something monetary solely. But when you talk about legacy, you talk more about the mindset and the tenacity, which I think are, fundamental, foundational type things that we need to start with when we start talking and building legacy. Because it's like, you could be a rich pro basketball player, and if you don't have those fundamental beliefs, mindset, and characteristics, all that money is going to get blown, because you didn't grow as a person before you attained all that money. It's a common thing that happens, when people get into money without the mindset and the belief system and all those things that go into it that are foundational. Pass that to our kids early.
To tag on that, you were talking about, financial literacy. Basically, we were riding by, Hershey Park and all that, and we was at that Turkey Hill that's right there.
Yeah.
And we saw a group of boys who was in TL. They was in transitional living.
Okay.
And they had the guy, I don't know what they call him because it's not a house parent, but whatever they call them. He was
the RA.
Yeah, all right. Whatever they call him. All right. Whatever they call him, he came out and Zarf had talked to him inside. He said, "Hey, Malcolm, won't you come over here and talk to the boys or whatever?" So it was 4 of them getting ready to graduate. So we're sitting there talking, and then me and Zarf is both kind of amazed. Like the stuff that they're telling us, they're standing there, we telling them stuff. And a big thing that I noticed with the school is that they are getting better as far as like they're updating what they're doing with these kids. Like they said they got a I don't know if they said it was a requirement, but I think they said it was a requirement for them to take this financial literacy class. Like that's huge. You know what I mean? That's huge because a lot of us run into that because we wasn't taught. But
exactly,
I think the school is trying to do a better job of just keeping it up to date. You know what I mean? Keeping it up to date.
Yeah. And evolving with the times, I mean, most kids graduate, and what's the very first thing that people are throwing down your throat is credit cards. Oh, you can get this credit limit, free money. But if we're not taught, that's not really free money. It comes with interest. A lot of us didn't know that. A lot of us didn't even understand how to pay rent, utilities, budget, all of these things. And that's so crucial, not just for Milt, across the board. You have grown adults who still don't know how to do a lot of these things. So it's such a crucial part to teach these kids early in every school system. We got to teach them financial literacy, budgeting skills, how to stay away from interest, and mental health. That's one thing I think should also be another criteria in middle school and high school, is teaching them mental health, self-worth, coping mechanisms, to prepare them for real life. Because a lot of us weren't prepared in that sense. We graduated and, we were so free, but we weren't really
in the real world
for all that freedom,
in the real world now.
Yeah, where nothing is given. There is no free lotion, no free toothpaste, no free deodorant. Yep. No free shelter. It is all paid for. Yeah. So it's a big, important piece.
Let me ask you this question. Now you had different house parents when you went there?
Yeah, I had 4 actually. I had a tough issue with authority. I've always been that way. I think that's what caused me to not ever want to be an employee. Yeah, I had 4 sets, only one set. Like I loved them. I felt they were genuine. It wasn't just a job for them. They had great leadership skills and knew how to really develop kids, whereas the other 3, I don't blame them or hold any resent, but they definitely could have been more qualified, because that type of authority was like authority for authority, no reason. It's not really, if I questioned it, why do I have to be on detentions for this? Or why do we have to do it this way? Then it was instant, no, don't question. Why are you questioning? More detentions, as opposed to, well, let me make you understand why you're being disciplined this way or why things are this way. It was hard for me. So, and I'm very vocal. If I feel like I'm not comfortable with something, or I have a boundary, or this isn't right, I'm very vocal about it. And a lot of, adults can see that as like a challenge to them and their authority. So that was rough for me. Teacher wise, I was phenomenal. All my teachers loved me. I had great relationships. So I think for the adults who I felt were like leaders, born leaders, not just authoritative figures, I went well with that. Yeah. How about you? Did you have only one set, or you said you were in the same home for like a long time? Yeah.
I'm about to hit you with a fun fact, right?
Yeah.
I'm the only Milton Hershey student to start and finish with the same house parents.
Wow.
I'm the only one.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So my house mom tells me this after I leave. She's like, yeah, we were going to do a whole thing in the brown and gold room for you. I'm like, why didn't you tell me that beforehand? But it's a fun fact though.
Yeah.
I'm a student in Milton Hershey School, and it will be because now that they structure it differently now, where you got to move.
Yeah.
The only one that would have ever had the same house parents from start to finish.
Wow.
The closest is, like people that was in my student home who had Because the year before I came, I think my house parents were there. They were new.
Yeah.
So like that, the year before that, everybody who was there had different house parents, and then they had the P's, the
Yeah.
Pearl, which I couldn't have asked for a better group.
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for a better family
Yeah.
to be there while I wasn't with my family. I mean, they did the best. They did the best they could.
Yeah.
Like 100%. But I just think that's a fun.
That is, yeah.
It's a fun fact.
And it's like an accomplishment too. It's tough, yeah, to stay in the
But it's a blessing though. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing because like you said, or to piggyback off what you said, it all depends on your house parents. Like
yes, all of it. Your whole happiness there. Yeah.
Like, you would have thought they was in Phil Haven. You'd have thought they was in, Scotland, the military school or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was just blessed with the P's, with the Perlikowskis. I was blessed with them. And it was luck too, because I told you I was in a mixed home up until 2004 or 2003.
Yeah.
And they did basically a coin toss.
Yeah.
On the boys and the girls as far as who's going to stay. So I could have, ended up being displaced.
Yeah.
But the coin toss went in our favor and they kept the boys. The girls was crying and standing there. I mean, yeah, it's gonna be sad. I mean, the home that that they lived in for years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's gonna be sad, but
right.
So the coin toss helped me out too, because I could have broke that, and then if I would have left, it wouldn't have been no student ever that had
So wow, isn't that crazy? I know.
And
it's all those years. That is crazy.
Nah, it's crazy, and it makes me upset that I kind of didn't graduate, because I know how Mount Hershey does. They would have had they would have showed me love, like, hey,
totally. But you still have a relationship with them?
Oh yeah.
That's
like
good.
I said, man, they I couldn't have asked for better house parents. I mean,
that's so awesome.
After a while, it was like I didn't notice any difference.
Yeah.
I just got used to being there, from being terrified of being dropped off to crying at night and missing my family.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, this is Mr. P and his corny jokes. We used to laugh at him all the time. That's
I mean? So awesome.
Man, I couldn't.
It's hard to be a house parent. Like I did have a lot of resent, for the three that I struggled with for a while, and then as I got older and more aware of what it takes and the sacrifice house parents make, especially when they have their own kids and what they're called to do as a house parent, take care of 10, 12, 14, hormonal kids, all with trauma, all with diverse backgrounds, all with different learning styles. I mean, I don't care how much they would pay me. I would never be a house parent. Like I could never want to play that role. Yeah. It's huge sacrifice. But when you find those, and I'm sure they're all good, you know what I mean? It's just, even sometimes house parents come in and I don't even think they know what exactly they might be getting into,
Well, I'll say they're good people.
Good people, yeah.
They might not, what I mean? Just like you said, I mean.
Qualified, yeah.
It's special.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's really a special skill, man.
Yeah.
I won't say skill, but just being able to, juggle 10, 12 different personalities. This one is from this one is from Harrisburg, this one is from New York. So this one goes home on the weekend. This one has it's Christmas. So it's like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and they might get in trouble and act out, but it really might just be because they missed their family.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff that you gotta, it's hard. It's hard.
And some, there were some that were a complete fail, and maybe they shouldn't have been house parents, but
well, they should have been.
Most of the time, most of the time, exactly. But it's most of the time they want to be good. You know what I mean? You'll have those select few that sometimes I'm like, how did you become a house parent? How did you stay a house parent all this time? It had to be a quota thing, but I'm like, I know I had one when I first got there. I was 10, and I got there with my sister. My brothers came before us, but they were a little bit older by then. And when I got there, it was complete culture shock. And my house parents were, and we grew up Muslim. So they placed us with a house parent that was Black Muslims. So I think, he thought because he was Muslim and we're Muslim that he can kind of like be a little bit more aggressive because, a lot of times some people see Islam as a little bit more dominating from male to woman. Some people don't. He for sure was one of those who was very stern, dominating to not just his wife, but to us. And I remember, like in the first few months that I got there, I started peeing the bed. And never did I pee the bed. I was 10, but I started peeing the bed. And I didn't understand it. My sister didn't understand it. She was 12. So I was ashamed, scared, didn't want anyone to know what was happening. And, everything that we got, they gave to us. Like if I needed new sheets, I would have to ask. So I would always, ask the missus, I need new sheets. And she was always like, once a week, why do you need these sheets? And she would tell the mister. And the way he came down on me about it, he would wake us up in the morning, and if he saw that I had a wet bed, he'd like flick on the light, and then he'd see that I had a wet bed, and he would just instantly again, and like he would yell. And he's a big Black man, I'm scared as that. And I'm like, why are you're so much bigger than me? You're scary, like my brothers yell at me, but they're my brothers. But I was like, but he was just so, now I'm an adult and I look back and I'm like, I would never traumatize a kid that way. Like, granted, you're Muslim and you think that that's okay, because that's how you may be with your kids or your wife, but it 100% traumatized me. It didn't make me stop peeing the bed, that's for sure. But I was there 1 year, and I mean, the aggression was a constant. Ramadan would come and he would like force me.
How did you fast. Did you tell somebody?
Yeah, there was one point. I was on detentions constantly. If I skipped steps, like you skip a step, you run up and you skip steps, I would get on detentions for that. And he would be like, you need to learn how to walk each step. And I'm like, I just want to run up the steps, detentions. And I know one time I was always in my room on detentions, and I keep a memory box all these years. And I had gone through my memory box last year, and I saw like on a tissue, I had wrote, I miss my mom, I miss my family, like hundreds of times on the tissue. Yeah. And I always wanted to run away. And there was one time, I
said, but you really did though.
Yeah, it was very hard. And I remember one time I was like, I'm not staying in my room. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to run. And I was like, I'm going to go get my sister because I can't leave her behind, So I left my room, and we were in like the 3-story old house. So I left my room. I went all the way into the basement, and I'm like, let's get out of here. I'm going to run away. I don't want to be here anymore, and this and that. And he must have found out that I had come down. He came down and he just slammed open the door, and it was old and it was basement. So everything's like cement. So he just echoed so loud. And I turned, and he comes up to me and he's like, I told you not to leave your room. And he was like poking my chest hard with his big old finger. And I just grabbed it and I twisted it as hard as I possibly could upward. And it definitely made a sound. I definitely heard it, I'm not going to lie about that. And as soon as I did it, yeah, I was so scared, like, oh my God, he's going to kill me. And I let it go and I ran upstairs and I got on the phone and I'm like, Mama, you need to come. So my mom's freaking out because I'm freaking out on the phone. And then I also called the like the neighborhood person. Yeah, I forgot what they called them. Yeah. And I told them like, I just can't stay here anymore. I'm scared, he was poking me. And they came and they're like, and my mom came too. So simultaneously they're arriving. And before that, no one believed that. Everyone thought it was me, my mom included. It was always like, you're the issue. Allah doesn't have these issues. Allah was fine with them the entire time. But my sister is also very submissive. She won't question authority. She won't question, even if you're mean to her, she's always been that way. I've always been fearful for her because of that. I've always been like her protector because she's quiet. She'll let you take advantage of her, And as I was telling the person, the RA or whatever, what happened, he just starts slamming on the washer and dryer. Like, she has an attitude. She needs to fix it. Well, and I'm like, and he's slamming like this. And Ari is like looking at him, and my mom's like, oh, no, no, no.
Yeah,
You
nah.
cannot do this in front of my daughter. No, no, no. You know, she came from a very abusive husband. So we were all abused growing up. So she was just like, no, you are scaring these kids. Like, what are you doing? And instantly the RA was like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take you. They took me to like respite, and then I moved to another student home. But yeah, he was still a house parent all these years. Yeah. Huh? What's that?
I said respite was bad though.
Yes, it was like one shitty place to the other shitty place. I was like, this should also be fixed.
It's dark in it. Yeah, good thing they got rid of that. Like, it's dark and I'm eating an apple with a sandwich and
Yes, like it, the whole thing. And you're so right. They progressed so much. Huh?
They got a lot better.
So much better.
A lot better, man.
Yeah.
You know, they listen, but nowadays you can't do stuff like that. Nowadays,
yeah. Nowadays,
you go viral for stuff.
Yeah,
like
he would have been fired completely nowadays. They just won't even. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they probably didn't last though. But I mean, we're not gonna get into.
They did. Yeah, they retired and everything. Yeah. And that's what I mean. I'm like, was this a quota thing? Because he's a black guy and he's a Muslim. That's like double quota, you know?
Yeah, double.
You can't fire him. Yeah. You know, so I'm like, was it that? You know, I don't know. But he was a big man. He was very built, super built, bald-headed, boogly eyes. Like when he got mad, it was scary. Yeah. So, but yeah, his wife, you know, she was like the balance of it all, you know, but again, she was also, in my eyes, appeared to be a pretty abused, battered woman. You know, we never saw him put his hands on her, but I watched my mom and I know how my mom was. So I saw all of the same characteristics that my mom had, being an abused, battered woman, in this lady. And it was very heartbreaking. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, he retired and everything, you know, it's crazy. He's even gone as far as like calling some of the students who left there to be like, you know, it was your fault. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you definitely aren't good with your own self to have to still feel like you need to reach out to some of these girls who left you to then say, you know, it was you, it wasn't me. You know, if you don't have a guilty conscience, you don't do that. You know what I mean?
What?
But yeah, isn't that funny?
Come on, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I have sympathy because I'm always like, yeah, I would never want to be a house parent. So I have sympathy for all the house parents who I feel weren't good, you know, for my type of personality, you know. I still have major sympathy for them because that is not a job I would ever want to do. You could pay me $2 million. Not gonna put my daughter through it. Nope. Yeah. You have to share. You're sharing your own child with the upbringing of 12 other kids, you know?
And that's a big thing as far as milks that put their kids in. Some of us, I mean, some of the ones that we went to school with was
yeah.
I think of a couple whose parents went. And that really all depends on your experience.
Yeah.
You wouldn't, because, you know, from what you just told me, but
no.
You know, if you had a great set of house parents and you had a great experience,
you
know, one day, you know, wouldn't it be that bad? But you always remember
those things. Yeah. Like the next set that I went to after that, after respite, the whole other set that I had were like 100% white racists. Like, and I hate to use that word to someone. That's a big word to call someone. But, and that's what I mean about that authority. I would see certain tendencies, you know, all of the minority kids would have the worst chores. We would eat second. We would shower second. We would sit in the back of the van. Like, and I would always question, so when does team A get to switch to the better chores? Or when do we get to eat first? Or why can't we sit? Why is it always this? And then we all happen to be brown, black, Asian, you know? And they would always be like, what are you insinuating? And I'm like, the fact that you're racist, you know, and boom, detentions and you're wrong. But this is something I'm seeing and I'm a child and I'm questioning it, you know, and it was met with no, 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 you know, defense, defense, defense. You know what I mean? And if you're not defensive about something, you have nothing to hide. You're more than happy to explain. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't even realize that. I am so sorry. Let us fix this, you know? But it was defense, defense, defense. And I left there after a year because I just, again, I couldn't handle it. I was yearning for a connection with these parents, you know, because it was also hard at home, but there was, you know, the treatment was just not good either. And then I left and I went to the third pair, which were amazing. Which is funny because they were like white Christians and I was Muslim. And they would always try to like convert me, you know? But it was always like in such a nice way. So like I never took offense. Yeah, it was always so loving. Like, you know, they would say little things like, you know, we just want you to enter heaven, you know, and when you accept Jesus Christ, you know, you can't enter heaven. So most people would be like, what? Don't say that to kids, you know? But I knew their heart because of how else they treated me. Like when I would go, I pray 5 times a day. I was a very devout Muslim. And I'd have to go pray in my room. Oh, this time I go pray or whatever. They would try to make sure it's nice and quiet. The other girls might bully me or make fun of me. They would try to stop that, you know? So I knew like all of it was a place of love. You know, it was very nice. I felt so good there. And then 2 years later, the school made them convert to boys. And then we had to go to yet another student home. And now I'm in 11th grade. So I'm 16 and my house parents were 25 and 26 with high school girls. So in my mind, and it was fine at first, but then of course I start noticing that, you know, he's a little bit too interested in what we're wearing, how it fits our booty, coming down the hallway without saying man in the hall, you know, just showing up in the hallway right during the time where we're getting ready for school. So, you know, we're changing little things like that. Little bit too interested in certain friendships with girls. And his wife was very opposite, always in their apartment, you know, not hands-on whatsoever. He pretty much managed everything. And of course when I would question, why are you down the hallway when you know we're getting dressed? Like, and then you don't even say man down the hall. You can't do that. And he would say little things. He'll walk into a room and be like, it just smells like Bath and Body Works. What is that? And I'm like,
yeah,
that's creepy.
Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, creepy. Or he would be like, let me see, turn around. And I'm like, it's gonna take you 2 minutes to tell me my pants are tight. Like you could see pants are tight from far away. Your wife can tell me. Maybe that's something you just shouldn't do. But I would question it, and of course they'd get upset, and I'd be on detentions, and that would have to shut me up. And then, you know, I graduated like 4 years later, found out they were fired. He had relations going on he should not have had. So in all these situations, I saw that I was right. So thank God for that, because during all that time, I did believe this is me. I'm such a loser. Like, why don't these people like me? Why can't I stay out of trouble? You know, it was always me, and my family also saying me. But now as an adult, I'm like, no, I went to school and all my teachers loved me. I was a 4.0 student, all the sports I could be in, like no problem with any other adults, you know, not even the third set of house parents. I love them. So as an adult, thank goodness I was able to go back and say, yeah, it wasn't me. They obviously weren't cool. They're not bad people, but you don't put a 26-year-old man with high school girls. I mean, that you're asking him to like almost be a saint. Like we're all blooming, you know, sexy girls, and he's 26. Like he's still young, and you know, it's almost like you're asking him to be stone, you know, and that's not, it's tough. It's tough to put a 26-year-old man with these high school girls and not expect him to, you know. But again, I think Milton Hershey saw these things, and it's all a work in progress for them. It's a learning experience, you know. Sometimes you have to see, oh, this doesn't work, to know that it's not going to work, you know. So, but yeah.
They had to go, like I said, they've been getting better at different things. Like even when we were riding back through, all the clusters is gender based now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It used to be, boys used to be across from girls. They're
Oh,
all
I did
like,
not know that.
the clusters.
Wow.
Girls, it's like a little girl cluster. You know what I mean? Next neighborhood over is a boys cluster. So they're trying to
Stop the hooking out.
right. They already know because we pretty much messed that up. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least they learn from that. But
Yeah.
the most important thing that they need to learn from is like the situation that you were saying, because those are formative years.
Yeah.
So they can either go left or right. Whereas though you establish a certain level of confidence in a kid, or you tear it down. You know what I mean? Where you like, is it me? Is it me? Is it me? Is it me?
Yeah.
Which goes back to what we were talking about, like in school. Like I'm getting bad grades. I'm like, damn, is it me? Is it me?
Yeah.
No, that's just not, know. It's not
they didn't know how to cater to your learning style.
Yeah. So it's those formative years. It depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Even Craig, I'm not gonna mention his house parents, but he was in like a military student home. Every time we go by there, them guys were either doing chores.
Wow.
We knew they was on detention. It didn't matter what they did.
Yeah.
It was on detention. Like regardless, that was like where they started at. It seemed like everybody at that student home started on detentions.
Oh, that's awful.
We all go out there, they'd be on detentions.
Yeah.
They couldn't go nowhere, could never do nothing.
Oh, that's awful.
And then you had people like me who that grew up to be my second family. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whereas though, my mom and dad, they throw cookouts at the house. The peas is coming to the cookout. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's so awesome.
No, Hershey it all depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
That's why I'll never fault nobody by saying this, that, and third, because if they're house parents like yours, you had like you had a mixed bag. You had a a racist bag, and then you had a
psycho Muslim bag.
Psycho Muslim bag, and then a predator bag.
Yeah.
That's like I don't want to laugh at that last one because
Isn't that crazy?
Sure that there's some girls that's currently going through that at the school. Whether they speaking up or not. It's hard to weed that out, but I hope the school is just getting better. Like, just put the old people with them, please.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like create.
But also listening to the kids though.
Yes.
Like, maybe when the kids say something, maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
You got quota with the black Muslim. You know
right.
What I mean?
Right.
Up, but he might have to go. He might have to go.
Like, you don't want to get sued by this guy if you fire him, but you also don't want to get sued by this kid who, potentially could have gotten hurt with this guy, or like he obviously didn't know how to manage his temper. And that's a very serious thing. There's a lot of kids you hear that, they wanted to sue or whatever the case was, and some of it is not correct information, and some of it is correct information, but it's that listening to them is so. And also, like, I just met, which is so funny, I was on Facebook Marketplace. I'm always on Facebook Marketplace. And this lady was like giving away awesome branches, great firewood. And I'm like, yes, free good firewood. I'm going to go get it. And she was married to the human resources guy who hires house parents at MHS. And I was like, wow, how crazy. And I'm like, yeah, we need to talk because there should be like, it's awesome. And she said right away, the first thing she said was, if you know anybody who wants to be a house parent. So right away, I know that they're on the lookout. They want more because they're expanding. They need more. But I told her, I said, the number one thing that I would say that they need to start to implement is hiring people who have child development background. Like, don't hire someone who, studied business or, child development background. Something in that whole vicinity of psychology, child development, whatever, but have that, because the house parents are going to have their hands on you more than anyone else in that entire school, more than any adult. They are going to have the biggest impact.
It boils down to your life.
Yes.
It boils down to your life. Whether or not our parents are not there, our family's not there, mom, they're not there.
Yeah.
Like, so
and a simple background check.
I don't care if you live in Harrisburg, you're going to be there 5 days out the week. I don't care if you go.
Exactly.
Those people have the most influence over you, regardless.
Most, and no matter how, I would strive hard as hell to get into anything that would keep me out of the student home. I tried every sport, every freaking everything I just want time away from the student home. So I'm just going to go be a thespian, in theater. Right. Even though I loved it, but no matter what it was, if it got me out of the student home, I was doing it, but and they have all the money in the world. They could absolutely pay these highly qualified people with these backgrounds to be able to, because just a background check, you could clear a background check and still not be, the greatest person to raise a bunch of kids, Yeah.
Like, having felonies doesn't mean that you're able to deal with
qualified to do this. Yeah. And they should be paid. I mean, you want to hire these people with these types of backgrounds, you have more than enough money to pay them that worth, not just, oh, you have a degree, or, oh, you clear a background check. No, it's way beyond that. I mean, you've got to be that's one thing I learned that I would always give back to MHS if I were to give advice is start with the house parents, start with the criteria it takes to be a house parent. Yeah. It's got to be some sort of certification or background in that area, child development, something, yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Like you or your mom now. So just imagine like your daughter calls you in the middle of the night, out of here.
I would, yeah. Like, had that house parent done that, like the slamming of the thing after my daughter called me yelling and he was poking her, and then I see this man and what he looks like, and he's, slamming, you would have had to put me in jail. Like I would have 100% tried to put him in a chokehold.
Right. Yeah.
Just because I know now you put your hands on her. You can't take that away now. You've damaged her in that way to traumatize her to the point where you're poking. And I remember till this day, I can feel the power of that poke. I mean, he was pushing me away with it. He was like, bam, bam, bam. And I'm like, I'm 10, I'm tiny, I'm malnourished. We got to Milton Hershey malnourished. You would have had to 100% peel me off of that man had that been my daughter, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry you went through that, man, because it's a lot of students that was actually in your shoes.
Yeah, and worse. And another Milt, like 4 of us. I started like a mental health webinar. I was like, alumni need mental health. You got Milts graduating, dying, committing suicide, getting shot in broad daylight. I have a kid in my class, Joe, who was shot broad daylight in the middle of the New York projects. Another girl that I know, shot and killed by her ex-husband, murder suicide, straight out of Beverly Hills. She was a beautiful girl, just 1 year older than me. This happened like 4 years ago. You got drug overdose. You got people drowning in the ocean. You have natural deaths, and you have major, major deaths that revolve around suicide or violence. And you don't see this in other schools. I've asked Chris, what are the numbers of your school of graduates that that died? And he could name one in all the time he's graduated, and she died of cancer. And we have a death every year, 1 or more deaths. So I was looking at those numbers and I'm like, no, yes, we all came from trauma. A huge majority of us will go back to trauma unless we deter ourselves, but what is the school doing, or what are we doing in our association to help continue on the resources, the connection, the safety, a place to come and talk about mental health if you are contemplating suicide? Like, there's nothing for alumni, So I got with these other Milts, Johnny Alexander, Alfonso Nathan, and Jeanette Krum, And I'm like, can you guys, they're all in mental health. I'm like, I want to do a series free to everybody. You guys will be the panelists. I'll be the host. And we could just cover all the topics you think are crucial for alumni and even kids still in Milton Hershey. And we did like a 4-part series. And then we created like a Facebook group, Milt Talk Mental Health, that's on Facebook. It just talks mental health. You know, it's a safe place to come. If you want to direct message Angie, you know, she'll be there for you. If you direct messenger as a therapist, she's there. So, and now I'm talking to, I just interviewed Abby Johnson, and her and I talked about the same thing. Yeah. And she said she wants to do something like that again. So now we're going to start another series, but make it even more consistent, maybe like once a week or once every 2 weeks, but ongoing, you know, because it's necessary to see all these suicides alone, let alone the violent deaths. This is not normal, and it cannot continue this way. You know, there has to be something in place for the alumni, you know. Yeah. And we want, of course, the school to become part of it. Angie is so good at what she does. I told her the school would benefit from bringing a person like you on and running a program, because this girl is, and I've been in lots of therapy. I think everyone needs therapy. So I've had countless therapists, and I can almost tell, oh, you know, you're good, compatible, you know what you're talking about. And her at such a young age to be so knowledgeable and good. I told her, you've got to take this to the extreme. You know, it's almost like a gift that she has.
Because the school is real. It seems like they're open.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I love hiring alumni.
Yeah.
And then something like this is like you said, necessary. I mean, I can think, you know, Stacey Cabrera, rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Women, rest in peace. Street violence. Tyshawn Peterson, rest in peace. You know what I mean? Drugs. So it's like,
Isn't that crazy?
and that's just, you know, that's just the tip of the iceberg, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are left out. I don't want to sit here and start naming people, but
Yeah.
you know, it's a thing that I think that's why they started transitional living, though, because it started like around, you said you're like, what, 02?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it started around like 01. And I felt as though like they started to realize like, yo, these kids we're just sending them off, and they're getting torched in the real world.
Yes.
Like, because they come from this bubble.
Yeah.
And we just saying, oh, here we go. I remember when I left, the first day I left, not the first day I left, but my first day of public school, I just got my food and just walked out the lunchroom. You know what I mean? Yeah. Lunch lady was like, yo, you gotta pay for that. I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
Like, I completely, was not even thinking about that. She's like, yo, good today, but tomorrow, this, that, and third. So she let me stop, but it's such a drastic change that I'm glad they put the transitional living in there, where as though them kids can get the, you know what I mean? Because you're gonna be broke in college. I don't care. Unless you're doing something, you're gonna be broke in college.
Exactly.
So they doing a good job of listening and responding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or analyzing and responding. Like, okay, this is happening. You know, they started making the kids earn their scholarship.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, back when you was going, it was just full ride.
Yep. No matter what,
wherever you wanted to go.
Yep.
It didn't even matter.
And pay for your off housing. Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't know that, but that's what I mean. So you have that bubble, even still when you're not there.
Yeah.
You still got that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're in the real world, but you really not.
You're still coasting. Yeah.
You're still coasting. Like you're really not a part of the real world yet. So
yeah.
They are doing a good job of getting better. But stuff like this though is necessary. So like what you got, you gotta keep it going, because you know your guy Gary Vee, man, he'll be proud of you. He'll be proud of you.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, seriously. That's good. So before I let you go, I want you to get a chance to shout out all of your info. If you want your website, any social media handles that you want people to know. I'm going to have it all in the description already, but I definitely want people to hear it from you too.
For sure. Novique, All the Novique info is noviquewear.com, Novique wear, wear.com. And it's at Novique Wear on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us with the same tag. Mazonmusic.com, you know, for those of y'all interested in my music, and you know, my writing and different things like that I got going on. At Mazon 717, Mazon 717. I gotta plug Water Health, man, because I'm tied into Water Health. So
Yeah.
waterhealth.com, at Water Health. Yeah, man.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta actually go. I told Craig next time I'm in Harrisburg, I gotta go try out his food because I see it on the videos and it looks amazing. Like that one looking crunch case.
Crunch wrap.
I'm like, I need that in my life. It looks so amazing. And I don't even go to Harrisburg. I don't know why. I don't really have nothing, no one I really know in Harrisburg. I think someone invited me to go to Broad Street and have lunch, but I couldn't make it that day. My sister works in Harrisburg. She works at the courthouse, but I'm never there. Yeah. So I'm like, I need to make a trip just to go try his food because it looks bomb. And I know you do his videos.
Yeah,
his videos really good, man. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he listen, I'm the number one taste tester, so
lucky. You are very lucky, yeah. Because I'm a foodie. I love food. That's pretty much all I do in my stories is like my cooking. But I think I want to eat more than I want to cook though.
No, that's me too. That's me too.
Like I can cook, but if I could just eat other people's good cooking, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Listen, that's why I don't mind when he wants to go in and chef it up. Go ahead, do your
Yeah.
thing, bro. I just gotta record a video. Cool.
Yeah.
Most of the time he makes enough for me anyway. So
yeah. Exactly. You get fed good. You get fed well. Yeah. All right. So I will let you go. I have all of your info. I would say each episode usually takes like 2 to 3 weeks. Could go on 4 weeks because I have been recording a lot. So we have a lot in the pipeline that my marketer and she does all the editing and chopping and my social media. So I would say between 3 and 4 weeks it'll drop. Yeah, and I'll attach you on everything.
That's cool. Just
yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for being on here with me. I learned a lot. You have so much going on that's positive. I can't wait to see what else you're going to do, how you're going to grow. It's exciting. And it's exciting all that you're doing for other Milts. You know, the path that you're creating for more people to get inspired. That is what it is all about. Yeah, keep on going because your kids have a great role model. I can tell already.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thanks for bringing me on too.
Yes, anytime. Let's keep in touch for sure. Keep in touch. I'm always on social for sure. You have my cell phone number. Maybe when I go check out Craig's food, I'll let you know. So if you're in the area, maybe we'll link up and check out the food. Well, I'll check out the food and link up.
I'm gonna check out the food too. Listen, I'm gonna pretend it's my first time. I'll just go get some food with y'all.
Yeah.
I'm always around though. I'm always around. You know what I mean? Helping bro out. So
yeah. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna plan a trip and then I'll let you know.
For sure.
Okay, it was great talking to
you. Here too, so you already know that.
Yes, and I need to get to know more. I'm all about connecting with more and more Milts. Like I eat it up. If you know any Milts that I probably don't know that are entrepreneurial, definitely get them my way. Link us up because the more that I can interview, the better. The more Milts need to get their stories out.
I got you. I got some good ones for you.
Yes, please. That'd be so awesome. Yeah, that'd be a big deal because I know a lot, but I know there's so much more that I have no clue that's out there. Yeah. So if you could send them my way, link us up, that'd be amazing.
100%.
Yes. All right. I'll talk to you soon then.
All right, thank you.
Bye.